Hi class, this is lesson 13 and you're going to want to open this 13 start PSD file. So we are going to be talking about creating images for a website or for the web. When you create print web or mobile device project, it's common to design the layout before you have the final graphics for it. You can add temporary graphics, but then you must manage more files. One way to simplify the design process is to create placeholder shapes called frames during the early stages of design, and then when you find the graphics that you want, you place them in those placeholder frames. So we are going to go up to the View menu. I want to make sure rulers are on. If you go to the Window menu and you click Info, this little panel here will tell you colors that you're hovering over, and it'll tell you X, Y coordinates. So we want to have that open. And then the other thing we're going to do is we're going to change our units by right-clicking on the ruler to pixels, because we're going to be working in pixel dimensions for this one. Alright, so there is a frame tool that you can use to create these placeholder frames. And then later you can go back and insert an image into that frame. So what we're given here is just a basic layout on layer 1. Those are just gray boxes. Those are not actual placeholders. And then we have a logo, we have the body text, and we have button art, whatever that is. So for this particular one, we're going to use the frame tool, and we're actually going to drag our frame over that big rectangle at the top. And what that's going to do is it's actually going to create a new layer called frame 1, and therefore it's just not just a shape like a gray box, it's actually a placeholder frame, and you can go back at any time and insert your graphic. Okay, and so to do that, you select the frame, and I've got a tutorial here. You'll select the frame, and then you'll go up to File and Place Linked. Okay, and you'll want to go to our Lesson 13 folder. You're going to go inside the Art folder, and you're going to choose North Shore.jpg, and you're going to place that. So when you place an image inside a frame, you'll see that it replaces the frame with that image, and the image is linked. Now, just so you're aware, if you were to move that image on your hard drive and save it somewhere else, you would lose this link right here. Okay? Now we're going to draw a rectangle with that same tool, and we're going to put it right beneath the two middle gray rectangles, and then we'll edit it in just a minute. So go ahead and drag out a frame, and notice your frame is like blank. We're going to go up to Window and open our Properties panel. So here's the properties of our frame. You can drop this down here too if you like doing it that way. kind of like it over here on this side. So we're gonna go width 180 px, height 180, x-axis is gonna be 40, and the y-axis is gonna be 648. So that should put it right on top of this little box here. So 40 in from the x-axis, which is your vertical, and then horizontal. 40 in horizontally, and then 648 down from this top corner, vertically. Okay, so when you do that, it makes it the exact size of that square right there. And then we're going to create 3 more copies of it and give them different positions so that they cover these boxes. So to copy a layer, you can do a couple things, but I'm going to take this layer, frame 1, and drag it down to the plus button, and that's going to copy it. The x value on this one is going to be 300, and that's all that changes on that one. Then you can duplicate again. The x value on the next one is 550, and the x value on the last one is 800. Okay, so these are just the placeholder frames. You're going to choose the very first one we made, the first little square, frame 1, and you're going to go to our properties panel, oh, there's it. Insert image, and you can go down on this menu to place from local disk linked. And it should bring up a dialog box then, and you can choose beach.jpg. Then you're going to choose the second one, and we're going to do that same thing, but we're going to choose North Shore again. The third one is going to be De Young, and then the fourth one is going to be Main 1. Okay, now you're going to select the right thumbnail with the link icon on Main 1. So not this one, but the one on the right. And you're going to do Command T or Control T on a Mac. And what that's going to do is it will allow you to free transform the image that's inside the frame, but it's not going to make it look like it's out of the frame. So keep your aspect ratio locked up here, and you can scale it bigger so that it fills that whole frame. Okay, go ahead and open that info panel again. Oh, there it is, the little eye. And we're going to drag a horizontal ruler down from the top, and we're going to put it at the Y value of 795. So you're watching over in your info panel until you get to 795. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in over here on this beach photo. And then I'm going to select the beach frame in the layers panel. So select the whole layer. And we're going to make some buttons. So you're going to drag a rectangle across the bottom of the shape. So get your rectangle tool, and inside, so between this line and the bottom of the square, you're going to drag out a rectangle, and it'll have whatever your last settings were as the color, but it'll be 180 by 33 pixels. And then go ahead and press enter. We're going to rename that rectangle layer band. Okay, now with that layer selected, we don't want it to be whatever the settings are right now. So we're going to change the fill over here in our properties. And the fill color is going to be like a dark blue. And then you can press enter. And mine has a stroke of green. I'm going to turn that off, so no stroke at all. Okay, so we're going to get our text tool next. You're going to do Myriad Pro, regular, 18 point, anti-aliasing is on strong, alignment is center, color is white. Okay, then you're going to click in the center of the blue band and type in all caps gallery 1. Okay, and then you want that to be centered. You may have to adjust the size. Mine didn't do the correct size. Okay, so we're going to select, just for a little organization, we're going to select band and gallery 1. So shift click. And then you're going to go up to layer and group layers. The shortcut is Control G or Command G. So we just made a group out of those two layers. And we're going to call that group Gallery 1. Okay, and then we're going to drag that group up so that it's above all those frame layers. And then go ahead and save. Okay, now you're going to make sure that Gallery 1 group is selected, and you're going to go to the Move tool, and you're going to uncheck the Auto Select box. So normally when you click on a layer, it selects it, right? But when you turn off that box, it's going to keep whatever you have selected over here in your Layers panel. So you want to keep that whole group selected, and then you're going to hold down the Alt key or the Option key as you drag it to the right. So watch this. You're going to click on it, hold down Alt or Option, and drag it over to the next one. So that's another way you can duplicate layers. So what we just did is we actually duplicated that entire group. And we're going to do that 3 times. So Alt or Option, and then Alt or Option. And you'll know when it's ready because you'll see this black arrow and the white arrow. That means it's going to copy it. Okay, now we just need to edit the text in here. So if you get the text, the type tool, you should be able to just change that out to 2. And 4. And you do have to click the check mark after each one. Now over in our layers panel, you can collapse all those groups, and we're going to rename those as well. So gallery 1 copy is actually gallery 2, gallery 3, and gallery 4. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do to organize this is we're going to take the beach frame layer and we're going to drag it into gallery 1 group, but we're going to make sure it's at the bottom of the group, so underneath this band layer. And you'll know if it's in the group because it'll be indented like this, the rest of it. And you'll still be able to see all of it. Okay, then you can collapse that. Open up gallery 2 and do the same thing with the small North Shore frame. De Young. And main 1. Okay, so now we've kind of just cleaned up our layers panel over here. Now we're going to add a drop shadow. So you're going to select the gallery 1 group and you're going to choose the effects button down here, and then you're going to choose drop shadow, and it's going to put a drop shadow behind this whole group. So your opacity you want set to 27%, distance is 9, spread is 19, size is 18. Okay, and then we're going to add one more thing over here in our layer styles. We're going to add stroke. So check the stroke box and then click on stroke, and you can change the settings. So we're going to put our size to 1 pixel. Position is inside. And then the color is going to be the same blue, which you can just click over here. And it's going to outline that whole button in blue and give it a drop shadow. So those are called layer effects, and you can turn them on or off. You can also duplicate them to apply them to more than one layer. So if you hover over effects over here, you hold down Alt or Option again, and it will click and drag. You can duplicate your effects to all 4 galleries. Okay, so it's looking pretty good here. I'm going to zoom out. Go ahead and save your file. Okay, so our next thing to deal with is the button art. And if you open up that folder, you can turn on this navigation layer, and that's going to be the website navigation. Sometimes you'll find it helpful to automate certain steps in Photoshop if you're going to have to do something like over and over again. So I'm going to show you how to record an action. So an action records every step that your mouse clicks on, and then you can replay it in different instances. So we're going to go up to File, Open, and we're going to go back to our Lesson 13 folder. We're going to go inside the Buttons folder, and we're going to choose Gallery 5 JPEG, and we're going to open that up. So this is our button that we're going to install on our website. So we're going to go up to Window, Actions. This is your Actions panel. There's some that are pre-recorded, but we're actually going to make our own. So we're going to get a new folder here for ours, and it's going to be called Buttons. New set is called Buttons. Okay, now we're going to create a new action. So you're going to do this plus sign here, and we're going to call it Resizing and Styling Images. And this is something that we're going to save in our Photoshop so that we can have it do this automatically for us. Once you click record, just be aware that every mouse click is recorded. So we're going to click record. You don't have to rush, there's no time limit or anything, it just records every mouse click. So the first thing we would do in this instance is we would size our image. So we're going to go up to Image, Image Size, and we're going to change the width to 180 pixels. Make sure you change it to pixels. 180 by 180, because we know that's what it'll be on our website. Then we'll click OK. So that sizes it down a little bit, and then we're going to go up to Filter, Sharpen, Smart Sharpen, and we're going to do 100% and 1.0 radius. So we've got our image size, we've got our sharpen, we're going to unlock the background layer, and name it Button, and it's recording all of this. Now we're going to go up to Image, Canvas Size. Make sure it's set on pixels again, and this time you're going to change it to 220. by 220. And click the center square. And then we'll click OK. So we're putting like a little transparent border around it. And then we're going to go up to Layer, Layer Style. Oh, this is the same as the Effects menu, so it's just another way to get to it. Drop Shadow. And our drop shadow is going to be the 27, angle is 120, 9, 19, 18. So same as our last settings. And then we're also going to select stroke. Click on stroke. It should be the same as what we did earlier. So 1 inside and the blue color. Then you're going to click OK. So that adds our blue border around the button. And then the last thing you have to do is save it. So that's in your action as well. File, Save As, Photoshop document, save, and then click OK. So that's your entire action that we record. Now that we're done, we can click Stop, and this action can be replayed over and over again on many different images. Now the reason that's helpful is because if you had 25 galleries, you wouldn't want to go in and open every single image and do all those steps. So you can create an action that's going to save you time, and you don't even have to open each file. You can do what's called a batch edit, where you pick a bunch of files in a folder and apply the action to them, and you don't ever even have to do anything. So I'll show you how to do that now. So you're going to go to File, Open, and you're going to select Gallery 6, 7, and 8, and click Open. So these three don't have those edits that we wanted. So we're going to apply this action to all three of them. To do that, we're going to go to File. This is called Batch Editing. File, Automate, Batch. And I've done this before when I've had to like resize a whole gallery of images. It's very helpful. So in the batch dialog box, you want to make sure it says what you named it, resizing and styling images. And you're going to choose Opened Files. You can also select a folder if you wanted to do it that way. Hang on just a minute. I'm going to click Cancel because I probably should close out of this one and Gallery 5. So just have 6, 7, and 8 open. So we'll go File, Automate Batch again, and Opened Files. And destination is none because you already included the Save As in your action. Okay, so go ahead and click OK, and you'll see it do its work. 1, 2, 3. Okay, they're already done. They're already saved. That's it. It took like a blink, maybe. Okay, pretty good. So now you can close out of those, and we're going to go back to our start file that we were working on. You're going to select Gallery 4 Group. And yeah, and you're going to go File, Place Embedded. And we're going to embed these as smart objects. So the first one will be Gallery 5, PSD file, don't do the JPEG. You're going to drag it down to this box below Gallery 1 and then click the check mark. You can get rid of your actions panel. Then we're going to do same thing with 6, 7, and 8. So we'll go place embedded. That's what I like to use so that I don't lose my links. And choose the PSD file for Gallery 6. And then do 7 and 8 as well. So the batch editing really just streamlines your process and helps you to be more efficient at editing. Whatever it is. You can do it if you're editing a photo shoot or whatever. Go ahead and save that. So in Photoshop and Illustrator both, the background you're working on is called an artboard or a canvas. So you can think of it as that. But we are going to play around with the artboards a little bit in this next one. So we're going to go to another file, so you can close out of this one. I'm trying to decide if you should save this. Hold on. Yeah, actually. So this will be one that you upload for today's lab, okay? 13 start. Now we're going to open a different one. We're going to go File, Open, and we're going to open the other PSD file, 13 Museo. And this is a different layout, so this would be like a different page on your website. And you can save this as something different, or you can just leave it as it is, that's fine. We're going to go up to the Select menu and choose All Layers. So we're selecting all the layers over in our Layers panel. Now we're going to go up to Layer, New, and Artboard from Layers. And you're going to name it Desktop. Okay, you can click OK. So see how it put this little word up here, Desktop? That's the name of this artboard. Now we're going to add another artboard that lets us see the mobile design view for this site. So for that, you're going to use the artboard tool. Where is it? Oh, it's grouped with the Move tools now. Okay, so it's right under the Move tool. You have the Artboard tool. When you get to the artboard tool, it asks you which direction you want to add it. So we're going to add it to the right of the artboard. And it's going to duplicate the artboard. And this is kind of what InDesign does as well. Like you can make layouts and pages with the same sorts of themes, but slightly different on each one. So this one is going to be called iPhone. So you can go ahead and name it over here too. And right now we don't have any layers on this artboard. But in your properties panel, there's some preset sizes. If you click on custom, you should be able to go down to iPhone 876, and that's gonna size it in pixels to match the iPhone. Okay, so go ahead and save this. Now we're going to create a design variation based off of this one, but for the iPhone. So you're going to select some layers. So let's open up the desktop layers. I guess I missed the part where you duplicate the layers. Yeah, it should have actually duplicated all these, but we'll go ahead and do that ourselves. So select all these layers and then Alt drag them. Hang on, I forgot to hold down Alt or Option drag up to iPhone. There we go. So what we've done is we've just duplicated what was on the other one, but now we're going to make sure we're on the iPhone artboard and we're going to modify some things. So with all of these layers, go ahead and close out a desktop, like twirl it closed. So with all these layers selected under iPhone, we are going to free transform. So Control T or Command T with all of those selected. And this isn't always like the best idea because it can like skew things a little bit, but we're going to start here just so that we have a point of reference to start from. So you're going to make sure that maintain aspect ratio, the little chain link is selected. And then for the width, we are going to enter 726 px, and that's going to shrink the width down so then we can scoot it over onto our page and it would actually fit on the iPhone. So then click the check mark. Okay, now you want to select the logo layer by itself, and you're going to do Control T or Command T. And the logo, we actually want it to take up the whole width of the page on the iPhone. So we're going to drag it bigger until it is 672 pixels wide. And then you can press enter. Okay, now we need to scoot everything else down. So we're going to select banner art, left column, right column, and layer 0. And we're going to, with the move tool, so V is your shortcut, you're going to move these down until the top is even with the top of the blue button stack on the left. And if you want to go faster, you can hold down Shift and it moves in larger increments. So like this. Okay, now on a phone, you're going to scroll and or swipe, so you don't want to have 2 column layouts. So we're going to make this into a 1 column layout. So you're going to select the iPhone artboard, and then you're going to go over to the artboard tool again, and we're going to drag the bottom handle until it is 2800 pixels tall. So we're mimicking your swiping when you view a web page on your phone. This is hard with a trackpad. Okay. So about there. So you want it to be extra long so that we can make this into a 1 column layout. Okay, so you're going to choose the right column layers, the whole group, and you're going to do Control T or Command T. And then you're going to chain link it, and your width, again, it's going to be that 672 pixels. So that's kind of like the width of this page. And then you're going to move it around just below the top banner. Okay, and then we're going to click the check mark. Oh, sorry, they want that down at the bottom. On this one, you want to make sure that the auto select button is not checked, and you can just drag it down. So they're saying to put it at 1680 pixels on the y-axis. So if you want to look at your info, you can see where it's at. Okay, and then you're going to do sort of the same thing with the left column. You're going to go back up and free transform it to a width of 672. It's a good idea to keep everything the same when you're doing web design. Keep your widths all the same. And you're going to move that down just to where your spacing looks good. And then you can click the check mark. Okay, so you can see that we've changed our 2 column layout, which you would view on a desktop, to a 1 column layout, which you could swipe down and scroll down on an iPhone. So now you can go view, fit on screen, and it shows you both of them. And you could show this to a client and say, here's the design of your website and the mobile design. Do you like it? And if so, we're ready to proceed with creating all of these files that we're going to need. So if they liked it, go ahead and save this. Then you would go File, Export, Export As. And this is the 2 artboards that we have here. So we're just going to click on the iPhone one so we can see it, and then you're going to make sure that its settings are right. So we'll JPEG, and we're going to make sure its quality is 6. sRGB, it should be all those things already. Desktop. The desktop JPEG, 6. Okay, both of those should be checked over here, and then you can click export, and it will save them individually as JPEGs. So this is what you're going to want to save for today's part of today's lab. So maybe just save it in your lesson 13 folder. Okay, now we're going to export some of our layers as assets, and this is really helpful to go from your Photoshop design to your website. So you can take these photos here that we've designed in pixel dimensions, and you can save them directly for your website. So you can go to the desktop artboard, and we're going to shift select all the layers on that one for desktop, and then we're going to go up to layer this time and export as. So this is different than file export as. So file export as lets you save JPEGs, but this layer export as is going to let you save each individual layer as its own JPEG. They're listed separately. So you can do like the navigation, the logo, the banner, the left column, the right column, and so on. So we're going to click interesting. So we're going to click on button art, which is the navigation, and we're going to hold down shift and click right column. So we're going to select all 5 of those. And then we want the same settings, so JPEGs. And when you click, or sorry, go ahead and deselect layer 0 here. It's just nothing. So we don't need that. That would just be our background color on the web page. Then we're going to click export, and we would save these in a place that we could go and use them on the website. So assets desktop is where you want to save those. Okay, then you would do the same thing with the iPhone layers. So you're going to select and shift select all of those layers. And you'll go file, or sorry, layer, export as. We'll select button art and shift select right column. We'll uncheck layer 0 and we'll click export. And this time Is there one for iPhone? Yep, Assets iPhone. Okay. So there you have it. That's going to make your life so much easier when you go to build your website because you already have your images ready to go. And they're already sized really small for web, which is really good. So hopefully that helps you guys with some layout and design. You can submit this PSD and the other one for today's lab.